Shut up and sit down.
There we go. How you doing, man?
Good. How's it going?
Good, brother. Good. Thanks for taking the time to be on a Guy Think podcast, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, sure, man. I love everything that supports the cause.
Awesome, man. Yeah, big fan of yours. I've been watching a lot of BKFC pretty much since Feldman brought it back. I've been into it, and it's my favorite combat sport. Absolutely love it. Seen your fights. Your fights are amazing. You just come in swinging. I mean, obviously, a trained, calculated approach that you have, but you know, it's what bare knuckles all about, man. You come in, you raise hell, you get these victories. The last one I saw with Shof was a great match, excellent, brutal TKO. So it was great, man. It was very entertaining. I'm like, I got to get this guy on the podcast. I've been getting a bunch of the fighters on. So again, thanks for coming on, my man.
That's my pleasure.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. So the last fight, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I was trying to go through the archives. I was trying to get as many fights as I could find on you, and the last one that I saw was the knockout that you had against Shof. Is that true?
Well, actually, we had a rematch, and in the rematch in Cancun, he came away with a TKO victory.
Okay.
I'm just a heavy hitter, man. I felt that if I was gonna finish out that fight, I would have eventually got the knockout. He was starting to slow down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He came in with a much better game plan. He was keeping his distance a lot more, and he was landing from the outside. I swing kind of wild, and I don't keep my hands up as much as I should. He was landing a lot. I got a huge laceration. Actually, it was this side on the inside of my cheek, and started filling up with blood.
Oh, wow.
And they thought that my jaw was broken, so they stopped the fight. But I was still hanging in there, man. I wasn't complaining at all. I was ready for more.
Awesome, dude. What got you into bare knuckle? What was the selling point for you?
Well, I did like 10 years of MMA,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved every minute of it. Then I had a retinal detachment. I got cleared by the doctors, and every time I came back and tried to come back into MMA, just kept blowing my knees out. I started off as a jiu-jitsu guy,
Mm-hmm.
wrestled a little bit in high school, and just years of damage to my knees and my MCLs. I've torn them a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I would try to get back into a MMA camp, I would just have problems again. So then when I was watching BKFC 1, my buddy Joey Beltran fought on that card, and I was like so happy. I didn't know he was going to be on it. And I
Joey's a
texted
good
him
dude.
right afterwards. Yeah,
Yeah.
great fights. He's a great
Yep.
stand-up dude. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, stand up all around, like in life. He's just a cool dude. And when I saw him, I was like, wow, like this is, you're like a part of history. You're like a part of UFC 1. You did
Yeah.
BKFC 1. And I wanted to be on the next one. And then I was like, convinced my wife that I would, it's okay for me to come out of retirement. And we did it, together. I did it with her support. And I went out and I did, I started training, and I was noticing that, boxing's just not hard on my knees like jiu-jitsu and wrestling
Yeah.
is. And I was able to put in a full camp. I got a hold of Dave Feldman. He gave me a shot. That card was got a little bit mixed up, and Tom and I ended up being the last fight of the night. So
Mm-hmm.
we fell off the back end of the pay-per-view. The camera crew had already shut it down, and we're lucky we even had the footage, to be honest.
Yeah.
And Dave told me he thought it was that night, BKFC 2. He thought it was the fight of the night. Tom landed some good solid hits, and I came back with the knockout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was great, man. I enjoyed it a lot. I was pissed that I couldn't. I knew you guys had two fights, and I was pissed that I couldn't see the other fight. I just wasn't sure if it was before or after you got the knockout victory over him. So thanks for clarifying for me. Now, if you like, for guys that are in your situation that have, obviously trained for many years, fought on a professional level, and maybe are having some sort of issues in the knee or somewhere else. Do you feel like BKFC is kind of, you could still have that opportunity to fight on a professional level, but not take a toll as if you were on the mat and ground and pound and things like that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, after all, the whole kind of theory behind it is that it's better for your brain than actual boxing
Mm.
because, first of all, the rounds are shorter, the fight is shorter. You're getting hit with just this, just that when you get bone on bone, you get all the superficial damage, which makes for bloody fights, which spectators love, right?
Mhm.
But it's not giving you the pounding to the brain that the big gloves are. You can just punch somebody so many more times in the head without breaking your hand. That it's actually it's a lot safer, even though it looks a lot bloodier to us. I mean, combat athletes, we're like, that's nothing, that's just superficial, it doesn't do nothing.
Wow.
So I enjoy the fight very much. I think for my body it's way easier to put up with one of these camps. I'm 40 years old, man, and I could still get in there and throw down for 2 minutes. The 2 minute round also, it makes it more exciting because you can keep a different pace for 2 minutes. It doesn't matter how good of a shape it is. You can go a lot closer to sprinting for 2 minutes than you can for 3 minutes, no matter who you are,
Bro, that's true.
So the way it's set up, I love it, and I think it's great for us people that are kind of like transitioning out of MMA. One more thing is, until the sport continues to blow up to which think it will, I think it will reach crazy heights. But until it gets to that point and there's way more money for the athletes, you're not going to get a lot of the young boxers in there because, the risk of breaking your hand is definitely significantly higher. And if you're a very talented boxer, so you're probably going to decide to go with boxing, and it's a much easier sport for them, like they see it like, oh, well, I don't get banged up every time,
Right. So do you see like more of this like a conversion for guys? Maybe they're on the tail end of their career in boxing or MMA, and or maybe they, halfway through their career, they're like, you know what, I think I'm going to make a switch, as opposed to guys that are just training straight for bare knuckle for right now until it gets super super popular.
Yeah. Well, I already talked to a couple of young guys that just fell in love with it, and then they're like, yeah, that's all I do want to do. I mean, the chances of having a shorter career is way more likely in this sport, but it's still a beautiful sport. And if somebody does want to pursue it, if you love something, you got to do it. You can't hold back. You're not going to be happy with yourself. So if somebody does want to pursue it and they're young, I say do it.
Oh yeah, man.
Shit.
Why not? Right? You live once, may as well.
Right.
What about
Right.
how many times have you broken your hand just bare knuckle?
Twice already, and I mean, I've broken it in MMA as well. But basically, I would love to fight more often, but it is a little bit of a brutal sport. I've gotten injured after every single fight. I've had to take time off. The first fight with Tom, I broke my orbital and I had to take time, got cleared medically, came back. Second fight, I broke my thumb, had to have surgery,
Was that
got
the
cleared medically.
Instagram I saw with the pins coming out?
Yeah, man. I shattered that bone, and I'm so thick-headed that I didn't even know it was broken. A week after my fight, I went to the doctor to get the stitches removed, and the doctor was like, "Have you X-rayed your hand?" I was like, "No, it feels fine." It was literally like this thick, like the thumb was like this thick, but I could move it, so I thought it was fine, And
Yeah.
she was like, yeah, it looks pretty bad. And I was like, no, I was like, look, I can move it. And like, she's like, dude, let's just get an x-ray. And we go to get the x-ray, and she comes back and she's like, yeah, she's like, it's broken in 3 places and it's in 2 different pieces. And I'm like, oh shit. And
Wow.
it's like, like really displaced.
Shit. Can't do any
So
thumb wrestling.
yeah, it's, I lost a little bit of height on it too. It's a little bit shorter now. So
Oh shit.
definitely got to give up the thumb wrestling. But she said that if I didn't get the surgery, it was never going to be the same again. So I got it done, and that delayed my return. And now I'm trying to talk to Dave, and he's trying to get me on the card for October 19th, I believe.
Okay, and October 19th, Orlando?
Oh, I haven't seen the location yet, but
Okay.
hopefully that'd be cool to fight in
Because
Florida. I haven't fought there.
I went on the website and didn't have a date locked down yet, but I figured it's going to be in October because it seems like every other month is an event. And it said Orlando, but it said venue to be determined, the date to be determined. So hopefully it's in Orlando because that's my neck of the woods and I'll be there.
Oh, nice. That'd be
Yeah, man.
awesome.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you're on, Ape, man, because obviously it's been a few Now I know why you haven't been there, but I'd love to see you back on there, man, because it's always a show when you get in the ring, bro.
Dude, I'm not getting any younger. I just want to get as many of these in before I have to retire.
Right.
And then I can just go off into my next career as a professional artist and say I did everything I could in the sport. I don't want to leave anything, you know, I don't want to leave any stone unturned.
True. That's very true, man. That's very true. And I saw the artwork. Talking about your artwork, man. Very interesting stuff. Very cool. Very different. Uh, I would tell you, man. Like, so when I was looking at it, for me, like when I was growing up, I was a big wrestling fan, right? So when I saw your artwork, and then I saw you dressed in drag, I was like, this guy's like the new Gold Dust, like because Gold Dust, with the paint and everything and the wig,
Yeah, yeah.
and he was always fucking with people in the ring and stuff, and with all the mind games. I'm like, you definitely threw me for a loop, man. I was like, it was cool looking, the picture and everything. I was just like, wait a minute, hold on a second, hold on, what's going on here? Because I've seen your fights, right? But I didn't see your artwork at the time. So when I saw your fights, I'm like, all right, badass dude, tatted up everywhere, knocking guys out, fighting like old school fucking, bare knuckle. And then I see the picture of you sitting on the toilet bowl with all the makeup and the wig. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? So you gotta fill me in, bro.
All right. So basically, um, Dominic Cruz, UFC bantamweight champion for a long time. He was there. He's a teammate of mine, and a friend of his that I also know, Jimmy Harbison, who's a pretty good black belt, very like above average, really talented American black belt. Went through this emotional intelligence course. I don't know if a lot of people know about that stuff, but it's like comparing how you deal with your emotions and treat people
Mhm.
versus your intelligence, which is actually a better deciding factor of how successful you're going to be. So, you can be smart as fuck, but if you're like, like can't relate or talk to people, like a robot, then
Mhm.
you're not going to go nowhere in life. So Dominic took this course, Jimmy put him onto it. Dominic fell in love with it, and he got my MMA coach, Eric Del Fiero, who coaches a shit ton of guys in the UFC and Bellator.
Okay.
And he started putting fighters through it, and he got me into it. And it's a course where you have like a coach, and then you set some goals, and you work on vulnerability and all kinds of emotional stuff. So being a professional artist, a lot of business people go through that course, and they're like CEOs, and they just want to do business related shit. So they force you to have one creative goal. Now, as an artist, that like my career goal was to paint 40 paintings in 100 days. That's like a goal that I put myself during the class. They said, why don't you try something different than what everything else you do and outside of your comfort zone? I was raised by a single mom. I had two gay older cousins that I grew up with, and I just always had like a ton of feminine influence around my house. So I don't know why. It came out of the blue. It's nothing that I had ever wanted to do before, but I said to myself, fuck, maybe I should just do like a drag show. Like I've been on TV a bunch of times. I've done interviews. I like talking in front of people. The shit that bothers people doesn't usually like bother me. So to push myself really out of my comfort zone, I came up with that idea to do a drag show, and I did it. And the response was crazy. It's like all my friends that are fighters that you would think would be like, fuck, what the fuck is this? They all thought it was hilarious and supported it. And like, so I find it really fun. And it's been like a boost for my art career too. Like a lot of people have reached out for me and they want prints of the photographs. And I'm doing a gallery show September 7th in Boyle Heights in LA.
Mhm.
And the gallery owner like asked me like, hey, could you show up and drag, and I was like, fuck it, happy to
Oh
oblige.
shit.
I just, I'm a weird kid, man. I've, just being an artist, trying to be an artist
Mhm.
as your main profession, it really sets you apart from most people.
Mhm.
And for my mentality, it's just like, I just want to have the weirdest fucking life I possibly can because I don't like being normal and I don't like normal shit. And that
I'm with you on
fucking
that one. I'm with you.
nine
Like
to
the
five
world,
jobs. Yeah.
it's crazy because like we when we're born and raised and we grow up, the world it's kind of instilled what the world tells us what's right and what's wrong, or tells us what you should do, what you shouldn't do, right? But that's just the world. Like who's to say what you're doing is as long as you're not hurting anybody. I mean, who's to say it's bad or not? So
Yeah,
I
exactly.
agree with
Yeah.
you, man. 100% I agree with you. That's why I do this podcast. None, at least nobody in my circle of friends that I've ever dealt with did a podcast before. So I'm like, I want to do one. Fuck it, why not? So
That's good, man.
that's off to you, bro. For sure. I wanted to ask you this. So, because this is like my creative side thinking. I'm like, how cool would it be if like you were to incorporate your art in and the fighting at the same time? Like, because I'm thinking about my like wrestling days when I used to watch wrestling. But how cool would it be like you just come out like just dressed up just to like totally like psych out the opponent, or come out like art related, your entrance and your whole getup and everything. Do you ever think about doing something like that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Now that I've seen the Liberty, it's like it's fun to push people's limits, you know?
Yeah.
Like not everybody was cool with it. Some people got uncomfortable. And for me, as somebody who's good at pushing buttons, that part was enjoyable too. So it's like if I do that, if I show up and drag to the weigh-ins, fucking some people are gonna flip the fuck out, and
That's
some
awesome.
people are gonna think it's great, and some people are gonna fucking be angry, and that's cool, like
Yeah.
exactly just like wrestling. There's people you want to love and people you want to hate.
Right.
And people can fucking get in line and whatever line they want to do. I don't give a shit, just fucking I'm being myself. And
Hmm.
yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
um we're working on a documentary right now, and it's about the contrast between my life as a fighter and an artist.
Hmm.
So basically, I had an art show about a year ago at a small gallery, and when I wasn't there, somebody bought a painting. They got my phone number from the gallery owner, and he contacted me, and he was like, "Hey, I'm an independent filmmaker. Has anybody ever documented what you do?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Would you be interested in making like a 20-minute short film?" So I said, "Yes." He's from LA. He came down to San Diego. His name's John Padilla. He
Hmm.
filmed me for about one weekend, and then he decided, fuck, dude, he goes, I think we could do more with this than a little short. Would you be interested in doing this like a longer length documentary? And I said, yeah, of course. So for the past year, he's been following me around. And now we're trying to get the movie funded so we can get it. We have talked to a couple people on Netflix, and we're trying to get it on one of the
Good.
larger platforms. But we
Awesome.
have to raise some funds to get the project completed so we can film. We need to get all the footage cleared by BKFC.
Hmm.
We need to fly the crew out to the next fight so we can get some behind the scenes when I'm cutting weight. Maybe, possibly show up to the weigh-ins in drag and shit. That would be
Yeah.
super cool because it
No.
mixes all the aspects of my weird ass fucking life, as a fighter, an artist, and now fucking a drag queen. So uh, we're just trying to put out something different out there. There's a lot of the same crap that you see get recycled over and over on
Hmm.
TV. And you go to the fucking movies now, man, and you don't see one new movie. Everything's a remake, a
Right.
reboot, or a sequel.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, where's the creativity? Where's the new stuff?
True. That's true. And I like what you do, man. I'm all for it. I think it's entertaining. And why not, man? I think it would be really good. I think people would definitely take to it. It would definitely get a lot of attention for sure. You know, and I think it'd be cool. Yeah, show up on the weigh-in like just all dressed in drag and then have him question: is he going to show up in drag at the fight, or is he going to come out just regular? Like what's going to happen? And then you could play that mind game, like because I'm always thinking I'm like it could be the killer or the queen coming out. You don't know
Right.
who's coming. Just like a
Yeah.
like a whole a
And
skit.
they'll
And I
and
go,
they'll either one will knock you out. That's the fucking problem.
that's it, dude.
I
I think
got
it would be
knockout
sick,
power in
dude.
both hands, man. Fuck it.
I think it would be sick, man. If you were like dressed in drag in the ring fighting, I'd be like, what the fuck's going on? Like everybody else would. I think it'd be cool, but just a thought. But I thought it'd be pretty funny. But that's cool, man. So, what about like, all right, so we're hoping to get into BKFC 8. That would be great. What's, I guess, how many more you think you got in you? Like, or how many more would you like to go? Because I know you said eventually you'd like to, at some point retire because it's not a sport that you could go for a very long time. What's in it for you right now?
Well, I mean, I love it, man. Honestly, if this sport had come out when I was in my 20s, I would have definitely walked away from MMA to pursue this full time because I think it just fits my personality and my fighting style a lot better. In life in general, I've never been that good at multitasking, which is kind of what MMA is. It's like be really talented in MMA is switching the gears between the grappling and the striking and the wrestling, you know, boom, throwing a combo, going straight to a takedown. That's the kind of shit that throws people off. Never been my forte, and just two fists, man, full power, just going nuts is exactly what I like to do, you know, put on a show. So I love it. I don't want to retire. I just know that they're at 40 years old. There's not going to be, you know, that much more left as far as a career in a sport where you fucking break something almost every time you go out there.
Yeah.
I don't want to put any limits on myself. Cool. I eat healthier than most people. I take better care than, you know, even most athletes. I want to do it until I feel like I'm just not competitive anymore. And you know, and that's always the dilemma for fighters. It's like, do you want to retire on top? And almost nobody ever does, because fighters, the real ones that stick around that long, they love fighting. Yeah. And then it's like, it kind of hurts your soul to know you have to give it up. So you're always going to go out on a loss or two, you know, and be like, okay, shit, I'm not what I used to be. And then it's that harsh reality and you have to make that decision. But for me, it's like, I want to fucking keep going out there. If I'm still feeling good at the gym and feel like I could put together a good camp and get in there, I want to do it. I want to fucking do it until I can't possibly do it. Because then you have no regrets. When the doctor calls it and goes, you can't compete anymore, then that's when you're like, fucker. I mean, what can I complain about? That's out of my hands, you know?
Very true. Yeah, I like that. Control what you can control, right? So I definitely appreciate those words, man. And so also I wanted to tell you, let me know, like after we're done with this podcast, let me know the information so I can let my listeners know how to help you raise funds for the project that you guys are working on with the documentary, because I'll be happy to, you know, blast it out there and let people know. And, you know, I'll put a message at the end of this video. So when I get everything all set up, this way here people know. So just
thank you, man.
Give me that information.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, bro, of course, man. I'm a big fan of the BKFC, big fan of yours, and I want to see this thing grow. Me personally, I think the BKFC is going to blow up. I feel like it's UFC 25 years ago. What do you think about it?
Definitely 100%. There's just the big difference between the UFC and most striking sports is that when the groundwork gets very technical, it's very hard for a lay person that has never competed to see the little chess moves that are going on that make it so interesting. But most lay people, most lay persons that watch a stand-up fight know what's going on. You know, it's a little more intuitive. You're figuring out, okay, that dude's getting his fucking ass kicked right now. You know, where you could see somebody doing a ground move and go, I don't really know what's going on. Like who's winning this exchange? You know, you can't really tell. Sure. So I think that's the benefit that BKFC has in its corner, is that most people that just like combat sports but are not like trained practitioners can appreciate a stand-up fight a lot better. And with BKFC, man, it's not boxing, bro. It's not like those judges' decisions where you see 12 rounds and neither of them have a fucking bump or a bruise, and you're like, who won that fight? Somebody looks fucked up at the end of a bare knuckle boxing match, and you usually know who looks more fucked up. Like you could see that shit, and that's great. It's a great fucking sport. 5 2-minute rounds, amazing. Nothing but action.
And there's no draws because it's an odd number of rounds, so which is perfect. It's not like boxing, 12 rounds. There could be a possibility of a draw. It's not going to happen in BKFC. So I like that too.
Yeah. I mean, technically, I guess it could. I guess if you get some weird cards in there where somebody gets a 10-8 round. But, man, in BKFC, if you get a 10-8 round, it's like that pretty much means I think the ref should have stopped it, you know?
True. Very true, man. Well, bro, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be on a Guy Think podcast. I appreciate it very much, man. Big fan of yours. Hoping to see you on BKFC 8 because I'm really looking forward to the event. I hope it's in Orlando. If it is, you'll be seeing me there, brother.
I look forward to it, man. I would love to be there. For the documentary, the name of the documentary is called The Combat Artist. It's on Kickstarter, and we're trying to get it funded. The funding will pay for the camera crew to come out, get all the behind-the-scenes shit. We can finish filming towards the end of the year. So far, they've been working for free on the project for almost a year.
Okay.
And also all the editing and music and all the stuff that goes into making it the type of quality that you can see on a big platform like Netflix or Amazon.
Cool.
So it's called The Combat Artist, and it's on Kickstarter. And I'll send you a link, and if you could post that with it, that'd be awesome.
Absolutely, brother. I'll share it in my story. I'll put it on social media. I'll make sure everybody knows, man. Thank you again, Diego. I appreciate you, brother.
Just real quick to anybody there that's interested, there's a trailer of the movie on there, and any donation helps, man. If you could throw just 10, 20 bucks, if everybody did that, we'd have the thing paid off in no time. Don't think that like, oh, I can't afford to do something, so I'm not going to do it. If you're interested, please check the project out and be a part of it.
Awesome, man. Diego, thanks again, brother. Thank you very much. God bless you, you and your family, man. Hope to see you on BKFC 8, brother.
Anytime, man. It's been a pleasure. Contact me when you're out there, and we'll get a drink after the fight.
All right. Sounds good, brother. Take care, man.